Hello, welcome here or welcome back. My name is Michaela. I'm a wife, a mom, and a knitter from British Columbia, Canada, and this is Galanthus Knits. Hello, welcome back, and welcome to September. It is already September 17th when I'm filming this, so you've been in September. We've been in September for a while now. But the weather is just turning now, I think, where I live. The mornings are getting crisp and chilly, and then the afternoons are still a little bit warm. So that's kind of that classic September weather. But I'm looking forward to going into even colder months and colder days. And yeah, I can't wait to be cold. So I have quite a few finished objects for you today and a couple of works in progress updates and no acquisitions whatsoever because I spent too much money at Flock in August, and so I haven't spent any knitting money in this month. So for some of my finished objects, some of these have been whips that have been on the needles for a long time, so I'm actually feeling really good about the progression of my knitting and freeing up some needles and finishing some things that have felt a little bit like burdens. So I will just dive in and start with the Selma sleep suit. So I started knitting the Selma sleep suit in April. I think it was April 22nd, according to my knitting journal. And I thought it was going to be something that was going to be on the needles for a while. Didn't know it was going to take me this long. It was supposed to be sort of like an easy, like, back and forth garter project to gift to a baby later in the year. And it was that, but it also turned into something that I just wanted off the needles really quickly in the end. And if you've been here a while and you've watched previous videos where I did talk about it, I mentioned that I don't love garter stitch and I didn't like how it was working up, and the yarn that I was using I had ripped back from a previous project, so it was all ramen noodle-y. That sorted itself out in blocking, so I actually do like the result of what it looks like now. However, I don't think I'm going to knit this again because there was too much sewing for what I prefer. And I found the sewing a little bit fidgety. I think sewing on garter, on like a garter fabric, to be a little bit annoying. Also, I'm sorry if you can hear that noise in the back. My father-in-law is weed whacking. Weed whacking? He was weed whacking. He's doing something with the machine now. He's tending to the yard. I live on the same property as my in-laws. We live in their carriage home. So yeah, so he's busy working out on the yard right now. But yeah, anyways, what I was saying about this is that there was a lot of sewing, and I don't love sewing on garter stitch because I find it just doesn't look super clean. So it's knit back and forth, and then also the sleeves and the legs are knit back and forth, which makes it easier because you don't have to purl, but then you have to sew up at the end. So if you were to do the sleeves in the round, you'd have to knit, purl, knit a row, purl a row, you know. You don't have to do that, but then you have to sew at the end. You have to sew this, you have to sew this little cuff down, this, like 4 of them. You have to sew the crotch together, you have to sew the ends here, you have to sew under the armpits, and then of course you're sewing your buttons on, which is normal, but does take a lot of time. So I like the result. I think there's a baby, my friend's baby in the UK, who is going to be born in November. This is who that project is going to. They will much appreciate this, but will I knit Selma sleep suit again in the future? Probably not. However, it turned out really beautifully. And I knitted this in yarn that I had reclaimed from a different project that I had ripped back, and it is Drops Big Merino in the color Greige, which is discontinued. So I do find it's more of a gray color than a greigey color. I was hoping that the Greige would lean more beige than gray, but it definitely leans more gray, which is fine. But yeah, I still have some left of this yarn, and I've knitted a whole cardigan for myself. So I ripped back one sweater, and with that yarn, I was able to knit myself a cardigan, Selma sleepsuit for a baby, and I still have some left. So I don't know why that particular sweater took up so much yarn in the first place. I don't know, but I still have some. Anyway, Selma sleepsuit, finished with that. And then I also finished the Arden cardigan. This is for my daughter, Eloise, and it's lovely. So it's knitted in this kind of, oh, what does she call it? Let's see. Okay, so it's a basket stitch pattern is what she calls it. This sort of pattern, textured pattern, and it's an 8-row repeat. And it has a lot of slip stitches in it. So if you look on the inside, you can see that there's a lot of slip stitches, which makes it really thick. So it's a very, very thick cardigan, but it did take a lot longer to knit up than I thought it was going to. Also, I really had to trust the process of blocking with this one again, because it was just so stiff before I blocked it. And then also this is the neckline, or like the ribbing neckline, is something that you add in at the very, very end. And when I first added it, it stuck up so far that it was like, you know, like Wicked Queen and Snow White type thing that looked, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but it looked like it was very strange. But I blocked it, and then I actually, and I know you're not supposed to do this, and I do it with some baby knits, but I hang up my knits in the second half of the drying process after blocking. So I wash it, I squeeze the moisture out, I lay it on a towel for like until it's like half dry, and then I hang it on a hanger. And I find that this stretches out the neckline quite a bit, which has been an issue for me with baby knits in the past, is that the necklines are not, they're not big enough because babies' heads are bigger that in proportion to their body than adults. So this hanging it on the hanger has stretched out the neckline just perfectly, and I think it's actually beautiful now. I knitted this in Drops Lima in the color Chalk. It's gorgeous. You may recall I started knitting this while I was in China in June, and so I finished it maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe end of August, beginning of September at some point. So it took me like 2 months-ish to knit up this cardigan for my daughter. I will say I like the pattern, but the sizing is completely all off, I'm pretty sure, because I started knitting the 1 to 2 year size. I explained this in a previous video, but I'll just quickly go over it again. I started knitting the 1 to 2 year size, and I realized it was way, 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 way too big. So I decided to follow the 6 to 12 month size for the like numbers, but then the 1 to 2 year size for the lengths. So I kind of did a half and half situation, which I've done before in the past, and it still turned out massive. So my daughter now is 14 months old, and this sweater is supposedly supposed to be 6 to 12 months, and it's still way too big for her. So it will fit her probably, like I'll put it on her while it's still too big. I'll roll up the sleeves and it'll be fine, but it'll fit her well, I'm guessing, in the spring. I guess I can update you on that, whether it fits then. But the sizing, yeah, I don't know why the sizing was so off, and my gauge seemed to be correct. I did a swatch with this one. I don't always with baby knits, but I did with this one, and it was fine. My gauge was fine. So I don't know why the sizing is off, but I really like the final result of the cardigan, and I think she'll look super cute in it. Okay, and then the next finished object is I finished the Bella baby cardigan for my friend's baby who lives in the UK. Same one who's getting the Selma sleepsuit. So she's also getting this tiny little cardigan. This is by Lene Holme Samsøe. I love her patterns. I think out of all the like kind of more popular mainstream pattern designers, Lene Holme Samsøe is my favorite. I've enjoyed a lot of her patterns, and I've knitted maybe like 6 or 7 of them already. And I have a few others kind of in my future, you know, in my plans. So I really like this. I knitted it in Durera Naturum Albertine yarn in the color Hot Chocolate, Chocolat Chaud. And I love how it turned out. It's beautiful. This might be one of my favorite baby yarns to work with. It's gorgeous. So I bought this yarn at La Mercerie on Bainbridge Island in Washington State, USA, when I went last month. Yes. And I bought 4 skeins or 4 balls of it. And I used just less than 2 to make this cardigan. So I thought, have I mentioned this previously? I think I have. Anyway, I thought that I would knit my daughter a matching dress to go with this cardigan so that our daughters can be matching at the same time. So this is the progress on my daughter's dress. So it comes in the pattern set. So Lene Holme Samsøe, she does this with quite a few, I think she does this with quite a few of her baby knit patterns, but they're sets. So like she'll use the same motif to create a bunch of different garments for children, and they'll just be sold as a package. So I have the little Dahlia package and then the baby Bella package as well. So this is the dress in the package. It's not blocked, so it looks a bit funky, as lace usually does. But it's got the same motif, it's in the same yarn. It's just short sleeved with a little bit of a puff. And then the card, like it has an opening, but the opening doesn't run all the way down. So it joins here, and there will be some buttons, which I have yet to put in. And then it will go far down. I'm increasing stitches as I'm going down so that it kind of flares out a little bit, not too much, but a little bit. And then it will have the same garter rib at the bottom of the dress once I'm finished the length. So I have less than a skein left, so I'm just gonna knit until I have, it's till I run out of yarn basically. And then hopefully my daughter and my friend's daughter will be able to wear the same thing at the same time, because I knitted, this is the 3-month size, I'm pretty sure, and this is the 18th month size. So they should be around the same size or same age at the same time, if you know what I mean. So they can wear them together, but from an ocean apart. Oh, I guess that was a whip. So there's one whip done, but I'm not done with my finished objects, so I will quickly just finish talking about that. So one more to show you right now, and then I have another clip of me talking about a different one. But I quickly knitted up a little scrunchie for my friend. And this scrunchie, it was kind of just a evening project that I wanted to do. I think I started with 90 stitches on 3.5 millimeter needles, or 3.25, one of those. And I knitted until I liked the length. I think it was about 4 centimeters. Then I like doubled my stitch count, like increased every other stitch. And no, sorry. Yes, I increased every other stitch, and then on the next row, I like wrapped it around the elastic, and then I picked up the stitches, the cast on edge, and then in the next row after that, I cast it off. So it was super easy to do. There's a lot of like free scrunchie patterns online if you're interested to do something like this. It was super easy. It took me just an evening. This is just scrap leftover yarn, which is an Egyptian cotton, which I picked up at a yarn store in Squamish last year. and it's in this really pretty blue color, which my friend likes to wear a lot. So I thought I would just kind of sneak that into her Christmas gift in the future. I have 2 more finished objects, but I've already gifted them to my friend who is having a baby in a couple weeks. So I did do a little clip of me talking about that last week or the week before. I can't remember. And I will insert the clip now so that you can see it in, you know, me holding it and things like that. You don't have to just see pictures. So I'll go to that now. Hello, past Michaela popping on here really quick just to talk about some baby knits that I'm working on right now, but by the time I get around to filming my normal podcast episode, I will have gifted them already, so I just wanted to show them quickly on the camera before I do that. So my friend is having a baby next month, and today is August 26th, I believe. So we're at the end of August, moving into September. My friend is due to have a baby in a month. They don't know whether it's going to be a boy or a girl. So I'm knitting some neutrals for her. Her baby shower is this coming Saturday. Today is Monday. So I have a little bit of time to finish up my baby knits for her, but I'll just update you quickly on what I'm working on. I decided to knit for her baby the Hjem sweater. Hjem means home in Danish, and I don't really have that much confidence that I'm pronouncing it correctly, but that is the sweater that I am knitting, and it's a pattern by Lene Holme Samsøe. I have knitted quite a few of her patterns in the past, and I really like the way that they work up. I like, she has quite like simple but really elegant designs. Simple isn't the right word. It's not like they're like unachievably intricate, is what I'm trying to say. Like, they're very user-friendly normally, and very beautiful. They turn out very beautifully. However, this pattern has been a little bit of a challenge for me, and not in the way that, not in my skill level, but I don't think that it was either very well written or very well translated. It is a little bit of an older pattern of hers, so perhaps she's changed her mind about some of the ways that she writes her patterns. And this isn't anything against her, because I honestly do love all the other patterns that I've knitted from her. But this one, I wasn't very fond of the way that it was written. I felt like there was a lot of things left out that could have been included, such as sort of the length that you're supposed to be at once you get to the next point. Like, often patterns will say you should have 13 centimeters. The body should be 13 centimeters at this point, or whatever. She never really gives, or doesn't often give, the length that you should be at before you move on to the next part. So sometimes I'm second guessing myself. Yeah, there was a few things that I felt like she left the knitter to work out themselves rather than to kind of give them more clear idea. Like the lace home motif, like the house motif that she has, you kind of have to figure out for yourself how many houses are going to fit into your body depending on which size you're going to make. Like, she doesn't really give a lot of, I felt like I had to do a lot of math, which normally is not what you have to do, not, at least not when you're following the pattern, kind of like you're halfway through the pattern. I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff you have to work out at the beginning before you start knitting, but the pattern should give you more guidelines, I feel like. And normally hers do, but this one was a bit off. I have done some modifications though. I can see a female western tanager in the tree right there. Oh, there's 2 of them. Okay, we're back. They've flown away now, so I have nothing to distract me anymore. So I did make a modification, actually 2 major modifications, and one of them I actually saw that someone else had done on Ravelry, so I just kind of copied them or got the idea from them, and that was to only do 1 out of 3 of the home motif lines. So in the pattern, I'll post a picture here again to just to show you while I'm talking about it. There are 3 lines of the house motif. So on the sleeve, like there's one on the yoke, and then there's one kind of in the middle, and then there's one on the bottom, and the sleeve follows that as well. And so I saw on Ravelry that someone only did it on the bottom rather than going all the way up. And this sweater is knitted bottom up, which you know how I feel about that if you've seen my other videos. Not my favorite construction, but for a baby garment, it's not that big of a deal to me. For an adult garment, I just can't be bothered anymore. I think I'm done with bottom up sweaters for adult garments. Anyway, yeah, so they only did a bottom one, and I was kind of going back and forth about what I wanted to do. So I did the bottom one, and I was working my way up, and then I was like, okay, I have to make a decision, because this now comes the time where I'm going to be doing the next motif line. So I asked my husband his opinion whether or not I should do all 3 motifs or keep it at just one. And he pointed out to me that he thinks that the original version with 3 motifs looks a little bit more like a Christmas sweater than an everyday sweater, just because of how it is. So, yeah, I'll put both pictures here side by side, and I'll write whose Ravelry project it was so that they can actually be properly credited for their work. But yeah, so I decided to just go with the one. The other thing that I modified, though, is that because you lose the top motif, that motif hides your decreases pretty well. So if you lose that motif, then your decreases kind of show up a bit. And as you can see from the person on Ravelry on their page, their sweater, you can see where the decreases were. And a lot of people don't mind that look. I wanted it to look a little bit cleaner. So I worked out the math, and I decided to do a raglan decrease yoke instead of just decreasing in the pattern as the pattern called for, while also not doing the last motif, if that makes sense. So it did take me a little bit of time to work out, and then I decided to do a 2-stitch raglan, and then also because I was decreasing, I had to decide which leaning decreases that I wanted to make. So I decided on that every single time that I get to my raglan stitch, I was going to be decreasing by knitting 2 together, then knitting the 2 raglan stitches, and then slip 1 knitwise, knit 1, and then pass slip stitch over knitted stitch. You know what I mean? PSSO. So that result actually, it created what looks like a 4-stitch raglan, even though it was only a 2-stitch raglan. So I'll show you the sweater now. It is not finished, but it is nearly finished. The knitting portion is finished. The sewing up and weaving in the ends part is not finished. So, and the buttons. I haven't put the buttons on yet. So it's a cardigan, but it opens from the side. There we go. So there are buttonholes along the side, and this is a garter stitch edge. And then here's the raglan. So I think it looks quite clean. I like the way that it worked up. So the sleeves are also knitted flat, and they recommend you knit the sleeves first, which I did. So I have to, I'll probably do like a mattress stitch to seam this up, and then I have a lot of ends to weave in. Here is the back. It looks the same as the front, minus the button band. But I quite like how that turned out. I will tell you which yarn I used. I knitted this with stash yarn that I had, and this is yarn that I picked up at a yarn store closing sale. So my town used to have 2 main yarn shops, and one of them closed about 1.5 years ago, and so she was having a massive sale before her closing, before she officially closed. So I picked up a lot of this yarn. So this is the Fibra Natura Natural Fine Hand Knitting Yarns Ravello. So this is a very soft yarn. It is 75% cotton, 16% extra fine merino wool, and 9% recycled cashmere. So it is very soft and it has a nice cotton content, but it's not 100% cotton, which I like because I think 100% cotton is not the most pleasant type of yarn to work with. Along with this, I have a few days. Obviously, I need to finish everything up with this one. But along with this, I am going to knit a bonnet to go with it. That will not take me very long, maybe like a day and a half. Possibly in a nice yellow color. I do have some yellow stash yarns that need to be used up. So yeah, this is my update on that. Hello, it is now September 6th, and I'm speaking softly because my daughter is sleeping in the room behind this wall, so I don't want to wake her up. But I thought I would just update you a little bit on some of the baby knits that I'm working on. And the baby shower that I was speaking about in the previous clip got moved from last weekend to this weekend. Anyway, it got moved, and now it's this Sunday instead. So I had a little bit more time to work on some projects for that baby in particular. And then I have a few other things that I've been knocking off the needles really quickly because, yeah, just the way that naps have been working out lately. I'm having a lot of knitting time, which is really nice. So a lot of things have been coming off the needles, and these little baby knits are especially quick. So I will show you that. First of all, I finished the little sweater that I was working on. So as you can see, I just did the motif on the bottom, and I changed the top from a like circular yoke to a raglan. I think it looks really clean. I put these buttons on that have little like flowers on them. I didn't think the baby, we don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but I didn't think they looked too feminine. It's just a little extra detail that I thought would be nice. I really like the way that it worked up. I blocked it so it's all ready and it looks nice. And then I also added in my little label at the bottom. So I didn't want it up here because I didn't want it to like itch at the baby's neck at all. So I put it down here. So that's quite special. Yeah, so I finished that, and then I also knitted up a quick Karen's bonnet by PetiteKnit. And I knitted this up in leftover sock yarn that I had from my Baranduin socks. And so this is Senna's Garden Sisu in the color Light Moss, and that is a superwash wool 80%, and then 20% nylon, I believe. So I did that, and then to match this, I also did a little soother clip. So I just did, I think it was like 9 stitches or something like that, and I did like a seed stitch, and then attached it to this little clip. And then I just braided like a loop and then tied that in. So that's the gift for the baby whose baby shower I'm going to this Sunday. And I like the set a lot. I think it looks really cute together. I don't think it's too feminine or too masculine, so it can work for either. And yeah, so that's the update on that. They're all finished and blocked and ready. I just need to wrap them up. And then the last thing I want to talk about right now is that maybe like 3 or 4 videos ago, I had mentioned that there's a little girl at our church who is quite sick. And she was born in May of this year. So she is now like 4 months old, I believe. Nearly 4 months old. And I made her this duck. Yeah, I talked about it in a previous video, but this is a Claire Garland pattern. I think it's called the Lucky Duck, and I've made a couple of these. But anyways, I'm meeting her for the first time tomorrow. And so this week I just decided to also knit her something else to go with her duck. So I made this bonnet. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think they kind of are very like Beatrix Potter-esque, this set, and I think the little girl's mom will really like these. So this is the Shetland lace bonnet by Fox and Folk, and I knitted it in a yarn that is, I believe, 90% cotton. Let me just check. Okay, I try to keep all of my labels together. So this is the Jody Long Summer Delight Luxury Blend of Organic Cotton and Cashmere. That's the label for it. So it's 90% organic cotton and 10% cashmere. And the color is porcelain. So yeah, it was really beautiful. This is, so far, has been one of my favorite cotton yarns to knit with, probably because of the cashmere content as well. But I don't really like working with cotton normally. But a cotton blend is really lovely. So yeah, it's really nice. It's still a tiny bit damp because I blocked it yesterday, but it will be definitely dry by tomorrow, which is when I'm seeing her for the first time. So yeah, I'm bringing these over. I have to wrap them up and put a little label on it, but yeah, I just wanted to quickly update you on those things before they get sent off or packaged up for the little babies that they're going to belong to. So that's my update on September 6th. Thanks. Okay, I have two more things to quickly talk about. One is something you've seen before a long time ago, a few months ago, possibly, oh, I don't remember, June maybe, I'm not sure. But that is the Shortcut to Mushroom socks, which I have not finished. I will just show you this up close in case you forget or haven't seen it before. They're really beautiful, and they are knitted in Senesgarn Sisu, which is my, maybe not my favorite sock yarn ever, but my favorite that is the most accessible to where I am. So I use it a lot. You may recall, or you may not, that this is the Shortcut Mushroom sock by Sjösvärd, and I am knitting it in reverse because I wanted to start with the fun bit first, the color work. It's supposed to be knitted toe up, and I just really didn't want to do that. So I reversed the pattern, just in my own notes. I was further along than where I am now before, because I had done the heel and I had finished the heel shaping, and then I was working on the foot. But the person that I'm knitting this for has pretty small feet, and I think it was turning out to be too big. So I ripped back, and I'm just going to reassess like what I should do about it. If I should maybe decrease a few stitches before I reach the ankle. I'm not sure. Because the color work is quite tight, so I feel like this is a good size, but then when you get onto like the ankle part of the foot, it needs to be smaller. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about it yet, but I just wanted to update you that I'm not very far, and I'm actually less far than I was before. So, but that's kind of going to be a little bit dormant for now. It's not my main priority at the moment. So that's that. And then I have one more whip, which I casted on last night. And it's very tiny so far. In my previous video where I talked about my autumn knitting plans, I said I wanted to knit a sort of neckerchief thing for Christmas time in the beautiful red color that I picked up from Ampersand Fibers from the Mercery booth at Flock. I have balled this up. I don't have a Swift or a winder or anything, so I undo my skeins, stick them on the back of a chair, and I stand there doing this for a long time. So that's what I did with this last night. And then I cast it on a tiny little scarf. I will show you the progress, which is nothing. Is this the right side or the wrong side? I don't remember. I think this is the right side. So this is just the beginning of something special, and that is a pattern from Sari Nordlund's book, Softly Timeless Knits. And I don't know how to pronounce this word, which is the name of the pattern. Terpsichore? Perhaps. So it'll be a sort of a, not quite a triangle, but just like an increased and then decreased neckerchief. And it does have cables. And I'm not super keen on cables, but I'm willing to give it another shot. And I bought Sari Nordlund's book, so I feel like I need to do more cabling. I will perhaps grow to love it. I haven't so far, but I haven't done any of the cables on this yet. So last night I was pretty tired. I cast it on and did all of the rows until I reached the first cable, and I haven't done the cable yet. So I will probably work on that in a little bit today. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So my active whips at the moment are this, which I cast on last night, and then the Baby Bella dress for my daughter, which doesn't need to be finished super soon, but it's nice to get good progress on it. And I've been doing a lot of passenger car knitting on this one so far, so that's been really good. That's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching and for sticking with me. I last week reached 1,000 subscribers, which is, it feels really big to me. I started this in February, and it just feels like it's kind of grown really quickly, and maybe to some other people that doesn't feel like a lot of growth really quickly, but to me it feels big. So thank you so much for sticking with me and for encouraging me. I have received so many beautiful comments, and I'm starting to connect more with people who are watching and people on Instagram, and I so appreciate all the advice and all of the encouragement that people have given me. It's really uplifting to be in a space where I can talk about these things with people who understand what I'm talking about, and also who engage in the craft and who have knowledge to give. Because I don't have any like serious knitter friends in real life, like in my day-to-day encounters. So yeah, it's really nice to be able to talk with other people about these things and have them actually understand what I'm saying. And also just be interested. Like, I don't want to talk anyone's ear off about knitting who's not that interested. So it's nice to actually talk someone's ear off who is. So thank you for being here. And yeah, thank you for everything that you have brought to my channel so far. It's just so appreciated. Yeah. Thank you.